Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Happy Friday. I hope you're all having an awesome day and getting ready for the weekend. There's a lot of things happening currently between Kathleen Kennedy, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, the Disney executives, and let alone Bob Iger, the Disney CEO. There's a lot of back and forth scenarios with Star Wars, and we always like to focus on both the light side and the dark side of the franchise, and exactly what's going on behind closed doors over at Lucasfilm and Disney. And the latest has a lot to do with a specific project that Kathleen Kennedy has and will be leading till, of course, quite a long ways from now, and what that's going to really turn into. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we already talked about the whole Pedro Pascal drama, the fired situation related to Skeleton Crew, and exactly what's happening behind closed doors with all of that, and I'm sure that you guys have seen it a couple of days ago, and there's a lot of things happening with Skeleton Crew, and it is considered to be the most toxic environment production-wise, and for the workplace, out of all Star Wars projects in existence, even before Disney. So, looking at everything related here to Kathleen Kennedy, one of the biggest decisions that she recently made has a lot to do with replacing Pedro Pascal as djarin, of course, with a different Mandalorian for this one specific Star Wars project. Let's be clear, Pedro is not being fired generally in this sense, but just for one dedicated project, that of course being Skeleton Crew. Now, moving on to the next big thing here, we know that Kathleen Kennedy was in search of a brand new character to take Pedro Pascal's place as djarin, and exactly where that's all going to go for the Skeleton Crew series. Now, of course, with Kathleen Kennedy recently making controversial decisions over at Lucasfilm, her latest decision involving one of the upcoming projects, of course, is something that many fans will come to not accept. Since Kennedy recently fired Pedro Pascal from the Skeleton Crew show for one of his cameos, or two of his cameos, since she wanted to downgrade him to a voice actor by deleting all of his scenes that he worked on in costume in order to save revenue for the series and use that extra revenue for the Acolyte. With Pascal now out as djarin for Skeleton Crew, Kennedy is already prepping to replace him with another Mandalorian. Now, it's described that Kennedy will be replacing djarin with Ragnar, who is the son of Paz Vizsla, where Ragnar is now planned to become a part for the reshoots. Actor Wesley Kimmel, who plays Ragnar, is already in the talks with Kennedy on taking Pascal's part to save the children and Jude Law's character from a band of pirates in this very important scene for the show. Let me just stop right here for 1 second now. I'm starting to wonder, how big of a time jump is there really going to be related to Skeleton Crew in comparison to The Mandalorian? How much older is Ragnar really going to be? As you all saw, Ragnar, especially in the first episode, he's quite young. We really don't have, him as an older character, most likely in Skeleton Crew. At most, maybe he would have aged by a year or two, maybe, and that's a big maybe. I'm still led to believe that Skeleton Crew is going to stay within maybe like a couple of months, up to a year max, after the events of Mando Season 3. But moving on from all of this, we also know that Kathleen Kennedy wants to really kind of just focus on brand new characters as the focus point for Skeleton Crew. She doesn't want any familiar faces for the most part. We do know that Ahsoka is going to be somewhat relevant in Skeleton Crew at some point in time, and even Kennedy tried to downgrade that, but we'll talk about that at a different time. But Skeleton Crew being led by John Watts, who is the showrunner, he played a big role in the Spider-Man films by Marvel, by the way. There's a lot of things going into the show. So, I still to this day feel it was very unfair to Pedro Pascal and how he wanted his face to be revealed in Skeleton Crew. He wanted a lot of helmetless shots. He wanted a lot more face time to get the recognition that he deserved. And Kathleen Kennedy basically just threw him under the bus for demanding that. And it only sparked a lot of creative issues, a lot of financial issues between the two, and it goes beyond that as well. So that brings us to the next point here, is that with Paz Vizsla now dead by the hands of the Praetorian Guards, Kennedy wants to continue his legacy through his son, in replacing Pedro Pascal's djarin after he was fired and cancelled from the Skeleton Crew show as the 2 cameos, due to financial differences and disagreements, as Pascal demanded he wanted his face to be shown in several ways, in specific scenes to gain more limelight as an actor, using his likeness in the show. Kennedy wanted nothing to do with this, and wanted to dismantle his title as an actor. The plan by Kennedy was to strip any scene he shot first, where he was in costume, and to only use the scene where Pascal did do voiceover work, using the helmet, and that would have given her a real reason to label him as a voice actor. So you can see that Kennedy's trying to be a little smart here, because she was literally deleting the footage where Pascal already had acted in costume, and only wanted to focus on the stunt doubles that took place at Pedro, where he did voiceover work, and that would give her the liberty to label him as a voice actor. However, she still has to pay him as an actor for the scenes that he had shot, regardless if they were deleted, which is also something that is a very interesting subject. Now, given, like I say, he did not shoot all of his scenes, he didn't get to finish all of his cameos in Skeleton Crew, this would have been a breach of contract if she did not pay him as an actor for the scenes that he had shot as an actor. Pedro reportedly only finished 20% of the cameo scenes for Skeleton Crew before getting fired. So, for example, his 2 big cameos could have very well been glorified cameos, to be specific. We could have had a whole episode, for all we know, dedicated to Din Djarin, similar to what they did in the Book of Boba Fett. Could have been something like that. But anyways, it's very interesting that Kathleen Kennedy is pursuing Ragnar to be the replacement of Din Djarin in this upcoming Skeleton Crew show, and exactly how that Ragnar character is going to get the character development. Listen, I think it's great that Ragnar is going to come at some point into the story, but I think it's also wrong for Kathleen Kennedy to literally just throw Pedro to the wayside and just throw in Ragnar just for the sake of it. I'm not quite sure how this is even going to work, or if it's going to feel realistic at all. Again, how well is Ragnar's training? That's another big question open on the table. There must be some kind of time jump. There must be from season 3 for that to even work. So it's interesting that the pirates are coming back. This is something that a lot of fans kind of loved and hated. Let's be real. There's a lot of fans that really did not like the captain at all, who looked like a bunch of seaweed. Let's be honest about that too. I thought that was a little odd. But some of the pirate characters, they were great and all. I just felt like the way some of the characters were done were just a little off and low production. So, the pirates being the main focus, like the main villains, or at least one of the main villains in Skeleton Crew, is something that I think is going to get a lot of criticism by fans. But overall, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this by dropping a comment below, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.